What is up, my loves? Welcome back to another episode of the Fully Alive podcast. My name is Stephanie Elsperman. I'm your girl. And today we are going to dive into a little dose of tough love that maybe you didn't know that you needed, but your soul was ready for, aka why you are here on this podcast. You saw the title, you know what's up. If you are someone who's reached that crossroads within your life, whether it's in your entrepreneurial journey, whether it's in your life as a whole, and you see everything that you've created, and you might have every single thing that you thought that you wanted, the success, the lifestyle, the family, whatever it might be, you have everything in your vision that you thought you wanted, but you know that there's a next level. You know that there's a next level of fulfillment. You know that there's a next level of your impact and what you want to do in the world. You know there's a next level of your purpose. And you don't know. Is it to pivot? Is it to scale? Is it to do something wildly different, to take a leap? And you might even be sitting there and just asking yourself the question of, what is my purpose in all of this? What is my purpose? What is my purpose? What is my purpose? Day in and day out. What is my purpose? What is my purpose? What is my purpose? Okay. I love that you are asking that question, because you know that we dive into all things purpose here. I literally coach on purpose. Okay. Love that you're asking that question. However, 9 times out of 10, especially with high performers, that once you have asked yourself that question, you've actually dug deep into the deeper layers of understanding what it is that you want, the vision that you desire that's not connected to any societal standards or what other people want. And you know your X factor, aka the skill set that you are meant to activate in this world to really create sustainable success for yourself. Once you know that, likely you do not have a purpose problem. You have a commitment problem. Okay? It is not actually about your purpose, but it's about your level of commitment. Because most of the time people think that purpose is just this thing that you find one day, that a lightning bolt comes down from the heavens and says, this is your purpose. For some people, that might be true. I love that experience for you if you've had that, or if that comes to you. However, most of the time, purpose is something that activates as you are in action. It is something that builds and is cultivated through you stepping out into the world. It's going to take hard decisions. It's going to take hard conversations. It's going to take you taking risks before you feel like you're ready. But it's that moment that you put both feet in and you step into the arena that the universe meets you and says, oh, you're for real about this? You're for real about doing something that's actually in alignment with you rather than what other people say that you're meant to be doing? Okay, cool. Here's the next step. And then here's the next step. And then here's the next step. And here's the next step. And then one day you wake up and you say, oh my gosh, my entire life is filled with intention. You have found yourself in something that feels incredibly purposeful, but it's not just one thing that comes down from the heavens that says, this is your purpose. Commit to that for the rest of your life. Most of the time, okay, for 99% of people, that is not true. And where many entrepreneurs will get stuck, and especially high performers, because you are so smart and so intelligent, is you'll stay behind the scenes waiting for a sign, a message, some clear as day path to drop in for you to give you the okay to take action within your life, when the reality is all you need is the first step and the cojones to actually put both feet in and commit to it, because the universe does not respond to what it is that you say that you want. The universe responds to who you are being. And I know that that's the most cliche thing that's been passed around a million times, but the reality is that it's true. And sometimes it can be easy to stand on the outskirts and say, well, I'm telling the universe what I want. I'm putting it out there. I say that this is my desire. And then you wonder why the opportunity is not coming. Because the reality is that the minute that you put both feet in on something and you align your actions, your environment, how you spend your time with what you say you desire, is the minute that the universe can meet you halfway and actually go both feet in with you and say, oh, they're for real about this? Okay, cool. Here's an opportunity. Here's an opportunity. Here's an opportunity. Because the worst thing that can happen when you take action is that you learn. That's the worst thing that can happen, is that you learn. I actually don't believe in failure, because I think every single thing that feels like a failure or a misstep is you learn, right? So when you learn and when you collect that information, you're going to be guided on your path. You're going to get closer and say, oh, this worked, this didn't work. I like this, I felt really fulfilled in that, but this I really didn't like. And you're going to learn and you're going to course correct over time. Now, again, there is totally a value and a place for going deeper and asking yourself the questions of, is what I want really what I want, or is it what somebody else, or based on some sort of societal version of success, okay? 1000%. But once you have asked yourself that question, it is likely that you do not have a purpose problem anymore. You have a commitment problem, and it's time to put both feet in, put your money where your mouth is, and start taking action on what it is that you desire so that you can get there faster and you can be in that state of like, oh my God, I cannot believe what I just created within my life. I am so fulfilled up to the brim, and that is a beautiful place to be. So today I'm going to show you exactly how to accelerate your path and get to where you want to be faster. Instead of just twiddling your thumbs behind the scenes over and over asking, what is my purpose? Because guaranteed that's probably just your ego in disguise, trying to keep you from doing the things that will actually move the needle. Because you know what happens when you do the things that move the needle? Ego death. Your ego will die. First is that ego death is the cost of acceleration. Most people are not stuck because they don't know what to do. They're stuck because their ego actually has to die. In reality, business is quite simple, pivoting is quite simple, unlocking your next level is quite simple. But the minute that you have that initial desire of, I want to go in that direction, that sounds really good to me. Let's go here. My heart is calling me here. The minute that you go both feet in, guess what? Your ego will have a shit fit. It will start hurling every single excuse, doubt, what your great aunt said to you 5 years ago about why it wouldn't work. Every single thing, it will start hurling them at you left and right, and it will be an incredibly good sales person, okay? It will make you think that they are so true. You might even start to believe, oh yeah, well, what about this? Well, I failed math in the 5th grade, and so maybe I can't do it in that way, and that feels a little bit too risky, and what if people see me like this? And then what if that person says that? And so you start talking yourself into this place where you slowly start stepping backwards, and your momentum is killed. But your ego's job is not to make you successful, it's to keep you safe. And so you have to determine from the start, what do you want? Do you want, and when I say success, success can mean something different to you. To me, it is that constant evolution, to be in the constant evolution of my soul, to be constantly creating and growing in this lifetime. That to me is success. So the cost of that success and my constant evolution is my ego. There is a part of my ego that will die, and that's not the most comfortable situation at all. It can feel like intense periods of questioning. It can feel like everything in your mind is working against you, but that's just part of the process. And what most high performers know is that the sooner that you shed these old identities, the sooner that you actually get to where it is that you desire. If you want to accelerate, you have to be willing to let go of the old versions of you and put your blinders on and put one foot in front of the next. My mom calls it chop wood, carry water. I don't know. I've probably mentioned this on the podcast before. I don't know if she got that from a movie or what it is, but there are some days where your ego is so loud that all you can do is put your head down and put one foot in front of the next, in front of the next, and do what it is that you know needs to happen to move the needle. Because eventually that time will pass. You will make it through the tunnel. You'll have people around you who support you along the way. You will make it through that time, and you'll wonder why you ever worried at all on the other side. And some days, all you need to do is put those blinders on, take care of yourself, nourish yourself in the process, but put one foot in front of the next, in front of the next, and I promise that you will make it through. The second thing to know is that momentum requires risk, but it's actually not that risky. What I mean by that is the feeling of momentum is amazing, okay? Businesses are built on momentum, that feeling where you're like, oh, okay, it's working, like I'm having that mojo, and things just start to exponentially take off. That is absolute gold. If you've been in that feeling of momentum, you know there's a power to letting that carry you. Think about it like when you're learning to ride a bike. In the beginning, you're like wobbling, you're kind of falling off here and there, but then eventually you get your pedals down and there's a momentum to riding a bike. You know how good that feels. It feels like flying, right? There's such a power to momentum, but momentum is not just given because you want momentum. You say, yeah, I'm going to generate momentum. Momentum requires risk. Not only does it require you actually putting in the work, right? Like putting one foot in front of the next and aligning yourself with these things that you say that you desire, but it requires risking your own comfort. It requires risking that little part of your ego. But the risk isn't actually real. It just feels risky, right? It's not actually real because the minute that you give yourself over and you surrender to that direction that you're being called to go in is the minute that you actually unlock everything that you've ever wanted. You unlock miracles. You unlock moments that make you just stand there in awe, being like, I didn't realize it could get this good. Those are the pure gifts of moving with intention and moving with purpose, aka taking action in the direction of your desires and finding that fulfillment along the way. You have to be willing to stand in that discomfort of your ego that says, well, what if I fail? What are other people going to think? I see this all the time. You might post something new or like do something in a new way. You might sell something and you're like, should I delete that? Like there's some part of you that's like, no, I made a mistake. Oh, I didn't do it in this right there. Maybe I should delete that. Maybe I should take that down. Is that actually true? Or is that just your ego being like, hey, you're doing something in a new way and I don't like it. So I'm going to pull every bit of discomfort out of my toolbox and give it to you. When in reality, if you stay the course and you do the actions that you know are going to lead to that desire, you will make it through. So if you're having a hard time committing to a specific path or committing to a pivot in front of you, it's likely not that you have an issue with the commitment. It's probably that you have an issue with the ego death, the discomfort that comes with commitment. Because when you go both feet in, yeah, there is that fear of, what if I don't choose the right path? Or what if I miss out on this because I go both feet in on this? I promise you, if you're really meant to be on another path, what you will learn by committing will get you there faster than you staying in this random middle ground of like, well, I'm not going to commit because what if I need to do this? And maybe I need to gather more information to know all of the paths that exist. And then I can decide. It's like, no, commit first, you'll learn, and then you can pivot. Like that's exactly how it works. You will never just be left stranded without any way to get to the path that you were actually meant to be on. You can never actually be off your path. Which brings me to my third point, which is to commit first and then let clarity follow. Commit first, let clarity follow. Commit first, let clarity follow. You're likely waiting for clarity before you commit to your next action, but clarity doesn't come first. Otherwise, we would all just be these perfect little robots doing the perfect little thing, walking in the perfect path. Like clarity does not come first, right? We gotta figure it out a little bit. We gotta walk blindly a little bit. Commitment comes first, saying I am both feet in on this direction that my heart is calling me in. Right? So you want to stop waiting for the right thing or this perfect plan, this perfect path where all of your ducks in a row, there's no possible way that you could fail. I see this all the time. People will come to me and be like, so what's the perfect plan? It's like, well, we can plan it out, but I guarantee you something in that plan is going to shift. Okay? There's no problem with having a plan. We love having a plan. I love having a plan. Okay, right? But something in that plan is going to shift. And if you think it's going to be perfect from the get-go, you're just trying to keep yourself from the discomfort that if you could just feel it for a moment right now, you will save yourself so much time in the long run. And I want you to start thinking about your life as if you were a scientist walking into an experiment, right? A scientist does not walk in from day one saying, so this is the outcome and this is what's happening. They say, no, they make an educated guess. They have a method to how they're going to experiment, but they go in with open eyes saying, I want to see what I haven't seen before. Disprove me. Let me find something new. That is the most pure curiosity. They don't figure out their experiment before they ever start. And so what if you could see your life like an experiment where you actually have no idea? You're going to try some things, you might have an educated guess, but then from there, it's like, universe, show me. Show me the thing that I am not seeing. Show me the way to get there that is 10 times better than anything I could ever come up with in my mind. Because your life is the exact same way. You've got to take a step in one direction, see what works, see what didn't work, see what fulfills you, what doesn't fulfill you, see what feels in alignment with you, what doesn't. And then from there, you course correct and you find your way. And of course, hindsight is 20/20. You're going to look back and say, wow, I could have told myself something from the beginning that would have gotten me there 10 times faster. That's fine. You use it for the next time. Or you give back and you share it with other people so that they can get there faster. Haha, like we're doing here. Okay, these are all things that took me so long to figure out. And hopefully I'm bottling them for you in a way that makes it way more digestible so that you can get to where you want to go faster. And there's a fun example of this that I always come back to with myself. And I don't think I've talked about this on the podcast, but one day I was hiking in Colorado. And I was hiking by myself. Don't ask me why. I didn't share my location with anyone. These were younger days. I didn't have a care in the world. I was hiking by myself in Boulder, Colorado. And if you've been to Boulder, Colorado, you know that there are the flat irons. Those flat irons are like these big surfaces of rock. They're like these massive rock surfaces that you can hike. And I got to the top one day and I felt really, really accomplished. And it was kind of starting to get a little bit darker. And so I was like, okay, it's probably time to like wrap it up. I'm going to start walking down. So I start walking down the path and I'm just like having a little merry time and I'm walking and I'm walking. And then I start to recognize that the path in front of me, it's not looking like the trail anymore. Like it's not as clear. Like I'm getting lost in the brush. I'm kind of stumbling over some things and like, oh, okay, what's going on here? Like I've hiked some trails. They're typically pretty well marked. So I'm walking down and all of a sudden I like look over my shoulder and I'm like, oh, like there's a little ledge there. So I climb up on the ledge to see what I can see. I climb up and I realize that I am on the face of the flat iron. And I'm like, holy shit, this is not where I'm supposed to be. And in fact, if I kept going down that path, it would have been no bueno for me. So I said, okay, Steph, we're not on the right path. What are we gonna do? So I'm standing there. I'm like, how am I going to get down this mountain, essentially? How am I gonna get down? I didn't see the path. I couldn't see it in sight. There weren't any people. All I saw was the road down below. And I could have stood there in that place and said, holy shit, what am I doing? Where am I gonna go? The path is not very clear. I need to know exactly how I'm gonna get from here down to safety very clearly before I take any step, right? What happened if I did that? I probably would have died on that mountain. Okay, not actually. Someone probably would have found me, hopefully. That thought did cross my mind, but it wouldn't have been very good for me. I would have just stayed there. Probably had to spend the night. Maybe got eaten by a bear. Who knows? But instead I said, you know what? Problem solving. We gotta start taking some steps. There's a road down there, so I'm gonna start walking towards that road. It's not gonna get me to the trail, but if I start walking towards that road, I know that if I eventually make it to the road, even if I have to slide down this mountain on my butt, if I make it to that road, I'm gonna be able to call an Uber, hopefully if there's service, or I can walk along the road, eventually find my car, and it will be fine. So I start walking down the road. Eventually I found the trail, and then I think it was like a side trail that then led to the trail. Eventually I found my way down, but it was only because I put one foot in front of the next and said, I'm just gonna try something. This looks like a good educated guess of where I'm gonna go. I feel like this is kind of in alignment with where I should go. I'm gonna go from there, and then I find things along the way. The same is true with life. And I know that's a silly story and it's a very simple example, but it is so real and so true that we can't figure out the plan by just standing in one place saying like, oh, I need to figure out the plan. I need to figure out the plan. If you are spending hours, days, weeks thinking about this one plan of what you are going to execute, you're already behind. I hate to break it to you, like kick yourself into action, start doing something as you're creating this plan. And I promise you it's gonna give you so much more clarity than if you're just standing in one place. And it's also probably going to cure your anxiety that you get from standing in that one place. You know how much anxiety, like I've so been there. It's so stressful to stay in one place because you know there is a part of your heart that knows that you're meant to be taking action, that knows that momentum feels better than just staying still. There is a part of you that knows, and that anxiety is that little marker of like, hey, we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing. And that's okay to recognize and to be honest and real and be like, oh, whoops, okay, cool. So what's the next right thing that I'm gonna do? How can I chop wood, carry water today and put one foot in front of the next, in front of the next, in front of the next? So my challenge for you, if you are listening to this, you're like, Steph, you are in my brain, what's going on here? Is, I'm gonna put my glasses up for this one. If you guys are watching this on a video, I've been wearing blue blockers, but I'm gonna put my glasses up because I need you to look in my eyes. So for the next 30 days, could you choose one direction, whether that is a pivot for your business, whether that's a new idea or an offer that you wanna bring forward? Can you choose one direction and for 30 days, commit to that direction? Day in and day out, chipping away at it. And you might learn on day 15 that there's something else that you wanna add or a tiny little micro shift that you wanna make. That's okay, that's beautiful. Implement that as you go. But from the get-go, could you commit to something for 30 days? I know that you could do anything for 30 days straight. I know that you could. And I guarantee you will wake up on day 30 and you say, wow, this got me way further than a month of thinking about it and planning about it and brainstorming about it and asking myself, what is my purpose and where should I go next? If you keep a journal, and every single day you ask yourself, what am I noticing? What is bringing me purpose today? What deepened my fulfillment today? I bet by the end of 30 days, you'd have a deeper understanding of what that actually is. Because your purpose, it's not just one thing that you do for the rest of your life. It's not just this one path that you choose and this one direction that you choose to go down to. Your purpose is how you live every single day and how you choose to act with intention, with truth, with choice every single day. I know for me, it's like my path has shifted a whole bunch in the past year and a half even, in ways that I could have never imagined. But if I looked at my path and I said, well, purpose is just doing this one specific thing, I would be boxed into doing one thing for the rest of my life. That doesn't sound like fun. You get to change and you get to evolve, but you have to commit to something to create that momentum and clarity that you're desiring. Clarity was never the problem. Purpose was never the problem. Commitment was. So today, make that commitment to yourself. I cannot wait to see what it is that you create. And remember, if there is a vision that has come in your mind, it means that it is already done. And now you just get to catch up to it. With that said, I hope that something has landed with you today. We were just on a roll. We were on a roll. I hope that this gave you a little bit of mojo to not be half in, half out, not be just waiting on the outskirts of your life, but actually to go both feet in your life and take the action that you know that you've needed to take. And if this has resonated with you, as always, I love to hear your thoughts. So feel free to send me a message on Instagram at Stephanie Elsperman. And if you could take a hot 30 seconds, give us a little 5-star review on Apple or Spotify, or give it a thumbs up on YouTube. If you're over there, that would just absolutely make my day. And I cannot wait to see you on the next podcast episode. Mwah! Bye.